psychoneurology comes from a premise that people are whole, they're not broken. So I want to make a really important distinction. Psychoneurology is the concept that really psychology isn't enough. Psyche, of course, as we know, is far more than the brain, right? So psychology is far more than just, cognitions in the mind. I mean, they talk about it as relationships and dynamics and all that. But there's a really powerful section of that too that goes beyond science, that's also interdisciplinary. In other words, it's other disciplines, and that's how energy moves through your body. And also, truly, if something is real for you, it's more than a psyche, it's more than a cognition, isn't it? It's a feeling. And how energy moves through your body, how it moves through your neurology is really more of the whole picture. So for us, it's never complete unless we call it psychoneurology, unless it's psyche cognitions, but more than that, it's energy. And it's not just, like if I tell you you're amazing, okay? Or if you tell someone you truly love, let's say your daughter, and you tell her, honey, you're amazing. She can hear it, she can think it, but it's not really real for her until she feels it, right? Until you actually feel it. We call that a part of your neurology. Having a neurological conception of how energy moves through your body as well as through your cognitions. Psychoneurology is the synthesis of both. It's extremely important we make a distinction, because psychoneurology, while we were doing that for a few years, something else started coming up calling itself neuropsychology, which is different. Okay, neuropsychology, we want to show respect to that field. It's a very different field, because psychoneurology comes from a premise that people are whole, they're not broken. We do not label. We follow Virginia Satir and Milton Erickson, but particularly Virginia, when she said, oh, when I think of the names I used to call these people that, came to me, I had hang my head in shame. She was saying, we don't label. And psychoneurologists, we don't label, we isolate the resource that's going to help you get where you want to go. The reason why we have such, a stellar success rate, ADD and these kinds of things, is not because we get rid of ADD in the old model, it's because we teach your brain what to do, okay? A psychoneurologist shows your brain what to do exactly. And we don't use drugs. We don't use psychoactive drugging. There are two ways to treat ADD. One is to train your mind and your brain so that you're conditioned to go into that relaxed, focused brainwave state, and to let you integrate it inside your body and your nervous system, especially for children. It's a pleasure of mine. It's a passion of mine. So they know what it feels like to, instead of hoping what they do will get their attention, how to take their attention and put it there. That's the psychoneurologist's way of doing it. Another way of doing it is you could use a drug. And if you use a psychoactive drug, or it could be called a medication, they're all going to be the same, Adderall or Ritalin or any of these. Basically, the concept is if you take someone who's already in fight or flight, if you take a brain that's already overtaxed, you stimulate an already overstimulated brain rather than having them go crazy, the brain will kick in its own, compensators, and those compensatory mechanisms will cause an endorphin crash or slow down the brain. So that's why if you give stimulation to an already overstimulated brain, it'll cause that crash. So that will work. So one way is to teach the child or the adult to do it for themselves, or the other way is to use something that will cause that crash. Neuropsychology uses a lot of standardized testing and a lot of other structures that are almost totally divergent from what we use in psychoneurology. So in some ways, they couldn't be more different. Not that one field is necessarily, we're not saying that any field is valid or invalid, but what we are saying is if you're interested in non-drug oriented solutions and solutions that are oriented towards our particular approach, which is adding new learnings and adding new resources, and you're kind of moving away from kind of labeling of your children, then psychoneurology would be what you're looking for. And we've had a number of people look for psychoneurology and then find neuropsychology and think, oh, I didn't understand what psychoneurology was. You probably did. Okay, it's easy to mistake them. Like once again, psychoneurology is not going to label. It's going to add resources and learnings for a lifetime, and it's not going to use psychoactive drugs at this point in any of the work that we do. We believe you have all the resources you need, and we help you develop them, whether it's adults, children, whoever it is. Anything from fears, phobias, anxieties, or any kind of situation, ADD, or any kind of learning deficit or disability. That's what you go to a psychoneurologist for, is to learn how to develop new skills and new learnings, social anxiety disorder, anything, so that you consistently can produce those results automatically, as opposed to, again, using psychoactive drugs. I hope that's helpful.